Hey there, I'm Richard. This is the first of whatever this will be. I was thinking the English Dick's Mine or the Jamaican Mine a Dick. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. I recently started following Donald Trump on Twitter. Hashtag not my president. Hashtag I don't even live in America. Mainly because I've recently started watching Last Week Tonight and saw how easy it was for John Oliver to make fun of him. And I thought to myself, I can do that. The one good thing that came out of Donald Trump's presidency is that we can make jokes about him. That should be like the new slogan for Donald Trump's presidency. Donald Trump's presidency. We're all screwed, but at least we can laugh about it. Trump is the Portia Simpson Miller of equivalent of presidency. No, I take that back for 3 reasons. 1, she's retired.
The line with me. I don't think them know who Portia is. I don't think they know where I'm coming from. And some people trying to cross the line with me. Never warn you. Stop it. Don't try it. I am a stepping razor. Don't you trust my face? I am dangerous.
2, she does not have the literacy or technological expertise for Twitter.
Say I'm missing in action. All who saying I'm missing in action, we don't have no one done in the PNP. We have one leaders.
And 3, this.
Don't draw my tongue and don't trouble this girl because I don't afraid of no man, no girl, nowhere.
That woman is scary.
Don't talk to me about it.
I said she's not techno-savvy, but she's not the only one. On the government side, Finance Minister Audley Shaw, not to be confused with yours truly, Hardly Shaw, cost the government millions of dollars because he could not use Wi-Fi. Can you believe it? He could have hired me, yours truly, Richard Lawrence, for IT services at say $100K a month. That's the same as 1,000 US dollars. The same amount that a police gets after taxes. Trump is so-called the most powerful man in the world, although I still would have to say the most powerful man in the world is Putin or Castro or whatever that idiot that whatever his name that leads North Korea. No, I'm wrong. It's China. And here's why.
The Chinese own enough of our national debt to decimate our economy, all without firing a shot. Or they could destroy us with the largest army in human history.
Enough!
Now, I say this knowing very well that as soon as Jamaica removes the Queen as the head of our state, we will become an overseas territory of China. They're already building up our infrastructure. They import stuff without duties. And they get so much incentive to do business here. It's not even funny. I'm saying this at a great risk to myself, as I'm sure this video is going to be brought up at my future trial, which will inevitably lead to my deportation back to Africa, a country that I've never been to. Before we get on to Trump's tweets, um, let us we have to wonder why so many of our leaders are idiots. It's because smart people realize that leading is a big responsibility, while idiots just can't wait to get there. And the reality is that idiots tend to think like this.
They came to me, the press, these people. Look at all those cameras back there. The press came to me and they told me that he said he would not pay for the wall. Do you have a comment? I said, yes. The wall just got 10 feet taller. Oh, Don, you're a little...
And it's because of this
Illegal immigration. I said, it's illegal. We have very stupid people in our country negotiating for us, and we have leaders that don't know what they're doing.
that while our leaders should sound like this,
United. That's what this city used to be. It's what it can be. It's what it must be again.
they sound like this.
Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby.
Look at those hands. Are they small hands? And he referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small. I guarantee you there's no problem. I guarantee it.
He was begging for my endorsement.
Donald Trump is not a reason to not teach old people how to use the internet. He is the reason not to teach old people how to use the internet. And to be fair, the most my grandma would do is post pictures of her dogs. No, 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 not cats. My grandma ate cats. And I know this because, and this is true, she beat one cat in his head with a hammer for eating her chickens. If anything, though, Trump is honest. Though he honestly tells you the first thing that comes to his mind. Sometimes it's nonsense, but sometimes it's helpful, like this tweet. Donald Trump tweeted, "So many signs that the Florida shooter was mentally disturbed." Does that remind you of anyone? Does it? Let me give you a clue. He's the current president of the United States of America. To continue, even expelled from school for bad and erratic behavior, neighbors and classmates knew he was a big problem. Must report such incidents to the authority again and again. Good advice, Donald J. Trump. If only we knew this 4 years ago, we wouldn't be in this fuckhole that we are in now. In this video, I'd like to talk about the education system. Sure, I could talk about the healthcare system, that doctors have their private practices and tend not to give patients the proper care, but to reference them to their friend's private practice and vice versa. Um, it would be quite awkward to walk into a room and see the same doctor who told you he could not help you with your problem, so you had to seek private attention, and he's the one going to help you. Or the fact that nurses can spend long hours inside just chattering away while people are literally dying in the waiting room. That's the kind of country that we live in, and people things seem to think that this is because our education is free. But the reality is that you pay for health, you pay for health, you pay for education. You may not be paying at the time that you're receiving it. But you pay taxes, right? But the problem is these people, it's very difficult, near to impossible, for them to get fired, right? They are like little politicians, yes? They don't have to worry about anything for at least 5 years, right? Yeah, but today I'm going to talk about education. Now, there's a saying in Jamaica: every child can learn, every child must. And it's very optimistic. It's, you know, it's very, it's something very, it brings a lively feeling within you. And you genuinely would want it to succeed. But can it? I'll tell you uh, um, a thing. I have a um, I'm mentally retarded. Now, this is to say, I looked up the definition of the word retard, and it means away from the norm. So, having a IQ of 140 makes me mentally retarded because a regular person's IQ is between 80 and 120. So, okay. Now, what this meant for me while I was going to school is that most of the time I was getting into trouble. There's very few things that the teacher could genuinely put on the board or try and teach me that I didn't already know. Point of fact, I sometimes actually had to go to the front of the class to teach um certain topics that the teacher did not grasp. No, that was bad for me. That was bad for me. I don't regret high school in one sense, because I met the great love of my life there. Mark you, she's someone else's wife now, but you know. But here's the thing. I also met a lot of my friends, some of my best friends. I met them at high school, right? But here's the thing. If we had a system that took persons with above normal intelligence, and there was a school, an environment where just as free or just as easily accessible as regular school is, it was as easily accessible, then I probably would have met these same persons, because I am not friends with any idiots. All of my friends have been people with genuinely high intelligence, except for one person who got me into trouble, but constantly reminding me that I got him into trouble. Uh, you decide and tell me what you think. So I find out the code, the password for the internet, right? And this is when I was in about grade 10. Grade 10. So I give the code to this person, right? And he enters the code for some of his female friends who in the middle of class decide to go look for pornography. And I don't get it. Not that they're looking for pornography, but they're looking for pornography with the screen turned where anybody walking over behind them can see. One. Two, they get caught and they're like, how did you get the password? Oh, Nevin gave it to us. And then Nevin, like, oh, Richard gave it. I'm like, how do people crumble like that? If it were me, I wouldn't have said anything. I would have said, hey, hey, you know, I got it myself. I found it, right? But he constantly blames me for getting into trouble. And But back to what I was saying. I wasted a lot of time in school, and my grades did take a beating because I wasn't really concerned with grades because I knew everything. I knew it. So, for example, I got a grade 2 in physics, which in I was the brightest person in the class, in my physics class, but I took a very laid back view on physics, chemistry, and biology, and basically every class because I was in a system that was accommodating persons with IQ of 180 and 90. So when you look at those kind of IQ, the teacher have to go at a slow rate, which means I get bored and I stop paying attention. But there's a flip to that. And the flip is like having a two-headed coin. The flip looks exactly the same. Now here's what happened on the flip side. I have a brother at the this was recorded in March 1st, 2018, at which point he was 9 years old and he has so far spent 6 months in school, and it was a basic school. Now let me explain what happened. Now he was born prematurely. Not sure if that's the culprit. When he was very young, maybe less than 2, he got hit in his head with a very heavy object by accident. I would assume I was not there. Now, what this has done is this has delayed development of his speech, which means that he probably needs speech therapy. But what it means is that it's more difficult for him to integrate into regular school because teachers won't be able to talk to him. Here's what happened. My mother realized the problem and she went out trying to seek assistance. They decided to test his hearing. I said, hey, I keep saying to her, tell them that he's hearing. He's hearing. We know that he's hearing. He watches Dora the Explorer, right? And if you mute it, he's going to unmute it, right? This he is very smart. He's probably more brilliant than I am. And a lot of people might not believe that, but apart from his delayed speech, I see very high qualities of intelligence. And here's the thing, for a very long time, she constantly, one, trying to get a school for him, two, she's trying to figure out what's happening to him, and basically they will send her to do a test. Then by the time she gets the result of the test and take it back, they tell her that, hey, these results are too old, you need to go and do a test. And that's basically what happens when you have a child who has some special needs. No. So here's the next phase. When he was about 5 or 6, right? That's years ago, he got admitted to a regular basic school from January till the end of that school year. Now the school said they couldn't continue to keep him because he was too old. At this point, he was saying all his letters, he knew all his numbers, he knew words like cat, dog, whatever. He still not talking in complete sentences, right? And he was very excited about school. Normally, you have to wake up a child to go to school. He would wake you up to get him ready to go to school. And you have to be like No, no, you say no. It's too early. It's 4 o'clock. School doesn't call until 8:30. Go back to sleep, you saying. And for the rest from since then, it's only gotten worse. The persons who are he has gone through many assessments. But here's the thing about these assessments. At home, something that you probably will not know if you're not a Jamaican. In Jamaica, most persons have a pet name. Like, for example, my name is Richard, but everyone in my community everywhere knows me as Hardly, right? My brother's name is Usain, but everybody knows him as Alric, and he knows himself as Alric. He has not gone to school or been in a formal system for long, so he would not know that, hey, your name is actually Usain. He knows his name to be Alric. So they do their assessments, and when they do their assessment, they call him Usain, and he doesn't respond to that to to that. He knows his colors, he knows his numbers, he knows his letters, including the pronunciation and everything. And here's the thing, they're doing their assessment, and he's probably in his own private little world like I do sometimes, and he makes some outbursts. He has no idea that they're testing him. I can assure you of that. And they say, hey, something must be wrong with him because he didn't respond to his name. These people are idiots. And I say that very well. I say that knowing that one of my videos actually have me saying that I'm an idiot. But that's besides the point. The thing is, these people are more interested in testing and theorems instead of actually getting to the root problem. Now, they gave my mother a long list of schools, possible schools for him. And here's where things get a little bit more depressing. So, I didn't know the name of a school, but I asked around and I found finally got word about a specific school that cater for kids like him. And what do you know? It's $65,000. Let me give you that in US currency because you probably won't understand um what I'm saying. That's $525, not per year, per semester. And last time I checked, there are 3 semesters in a year. However, however, here's the next thing. He has delayed speech, which means he might need speech therapy. So this amount, this $525 um per semester might be raised after they do an assessment to see what kind of special needs he has. But here's the thing. He wipes his he wipes his own ass, he eats his own food, he knows when to go to the bathroom. The only thing that he genuinely needs is speech therapy, right? But all of the other things that you a special needs child would have, it doesn't have those concerns. But you have to find over 50, nearly 1,600 US dollars per year to send him to school. And my mother is poor. I am poor. I don't have that kind of money, right? And the government says every child can learn, every child must, but they have no facilities for them to learn in, right? No, so we have looked at the side where you're a genius and how our school can diminish your potential. We have looked at the side where if you are disabled, or if you have like delayed speech, or you need special ed, for want of a better word, that you're gonna have some problems also. But what about if you are normal? If you are normal, here's the thing: we have problems there too. We have a lot of problems there too. But here's the thing: we have a thing that we're getting rid of now called GSAT, and it's the biggest fuck you ever. The only bigger fuck you would be for more of Americans voting for Hillary, but Donald Trump is now president. That's the only bigger fuck you I can think of right now. And the reality is this: GSAT grades you based on how much you can remember, and you are asked to remember stuff that, guess what, you will not be using until ninth grade. A lot of stuff that I did in grade 6 while I was doing GSAT, I never saw them back until ninth grade. And the reality is this: GSAT does not does not test your reasoning ability. It does not test to find out if you'll be able to manage high school. It just tests to find out how much information you can remember and regurgitate. Mark you, I was not really affected by GSAT because I can remember stuff and regurgitate it, in addition to the fact that I'm smart. So, but for example, one of my brother, is not the fastest learner, and his teacher forced him to do GSAT. How did she do that? Quite simply, really. His mother said, "Hey, don't do GSAT this year. Do it next year, because I'm pregnant and I won't be able to help you as much. Furthermore, you are not the brightest person, so give yourself the extra time." Right? What did the teacher do? Teacher said, "Hey, we need to see his birth certificate for something." His mother sent his birth certificate, and the teacher signed him up for GSAT. And guess what? He passed for a really, really bad school, not a good school. And so he spent the next 5 years in that school. And what did he come out with? Nothing. He didn't come out with a CXC, GCE, nothing. Why is this? Because some idiot teacher decided to force him to do GSAT, and he was clearly not ready for high school, right? But talking about failing school, that's another issue about the education system in Jamaica. Here's the thing: with you call it good schools like Queens or Calabar, um, these schools put out lawyers and doctors and that sort of thing. And when these schools put out these kind of thing, these people have money. So what these people do is they come back and they give back to their school. So these schools have end up with better teachers. They have more donations, so they have better facilities. Whatever the money from the government can't do, they will get donation from past students to help with. Meanwhile, on the flip side, you have schools like Bogwalk and Glengorf, another failing school, that the government give the same resources as the previously mentioned school, probably even less. Some of the teachers, the worst set of student. Here's the thing though with GSAT. Well, let me just complete that thought first. they have fewer resources, and they're expected to take children from sometime from not even being able to know different letters of the alphabet to passing CXC in 5 years. And that's not possible. And here's the thing though, GSAT fucks fucks those schools real good. And here, listen to this and tell me what you think. Okay, so first thing, there's a percentage mark that you need to pass in order to go to Queens or Wolmer's or Calabar or Casey. Now, let's say that's 80%. If you are getting 80% average in GSAT, it's usually because you're pretty bright, okay? You're pretty bright. The thing with um bright students like me, for example, is that an idiot can teach me. An idiot can just be regurgitating nonsense, and I'm like, oh, that's what you're saying. They probably don't understand what they're saying, but I can understand from what they're saying what they are saying. Right? It's easy for me to learn. Anyone can teach me. Those are the kind of students that are going to Casey, Calabar, Queens, Wolmer's, and these schools. Meanwhile, the tough ed, dunce ed students are going to schools like Bagwalk and Glengar. These teachers are going to have a headache trying to teach these students. And listen to this, students with marks like 10 and 35, literally any mark, let's not use 50, let's use 40. Any mark below 40%, if you have an average of below 40%, you have no business going to high school. Okay, you probably need to go back to grade 1 and do the shit all over again, right? But these schools are giving no resources and are giving the worst set of students. Usually, these students are not just uneducated or not illiterate. They are not just not illiterate. They are they are violent, sometimes disruptive, sometimes seeking attention, and it makes it impossible for these teachers to teach them, especially because a lot of them get dumped into these schools. So these schools end up with large class sizes. So I don't, the teachers really don't have a chance to teach anyone. So what a lot of these teachers are forced to do is this, and this is very unethical. I am not suggesting that anyone do it. They find a few that are interested in learning and that are willing to learn, and they teach those, and then fuck the rest. Okay, and that's what has been happening, right? And so, if Jamaican politicians in Jamaica really want to say every child can learn, every child must, then we must produce, we must envision, we must build a environment that allows every child to learn. So for the faster kids, the more genius kids, they need to be special school so they can finish high school by the time they are 15 or 14, right? So they can spend their time once they're 15, 16, can spend their time doing other shit or starting university or something. While on the flip side, there need to be government sanctioned um, schools where persons with special needs can go to, and this need to be easily accessible. You can't be doing trying to find a needle in a um barn of a stack, right? So That's that. And then we need to have a test system that will um get kids that are ready to high school into high school, and those that are not ready for high school into some other program. But here's the thing. A lot of people say every child can learn, every child must. And here's where I differ. Every child can learn, every child must. But not every child is going to learn the same thing, right? So, for example, I am a genius. I am not going to be good. I am not a strong person. If you look at my picture, you'll notice I'm not a strong person. I'm not the type of person you will be see operating a jackhammer, right? No, you need basic math, basic English, right? And a few other basic things. But once a child reaches ninth grade, then I think that a school system should be set up in such a way that they can say, okay, this child is a scholar. This child is a scholar, and so we're gonna push him towards CXC or whatever exam, right? And that's good. But then we say this child is not a scholar, so let's push him towards a skill. Because the worst thing you can do to a child is to force him to spend 2 years trying to do CXE that is clear from the fucking beginning that he's not going to pass, right? Then have his parent kick him out while he struggles doing some shitty job, right? To finally learn a skill, which is what you actually needed in the first place. I'm not saying that I'm not saying you should deny your child education, but you need to face facts. Not I am not going to learn carpentry. That's just not for me, right? Masonry, that's just not for me. That's not my forte. That I'm not going to spend time learning that, right? And I'm probably not the best person to teach that. But they are genuine kids who, instead of wasting 2 years of their life preparing for an exam they know they cannot pass, might as well you just push them into a vocational skill, learn a skill. So, because that's what is needed for life, they need to be able to work once they become an adult to take care of themselves. Don't fool your head with fantasy that your child is going to be the next prime minister when at 12, 13, 14-year old he can't write his name, right? So, you know, we just need to be realistic about what it is that we think every child can do or learn. So, let me know what you think about my opinion in the description down below. Like the video if you like it, if you dislike it, and don't forget to subscribe.